There is, of course, a precedent for the health care battle. The stimulus bill as well saw the president fighting hard for Republican support, just to end up with them throwing the stimulus in his face, even after he traded away some components that progressives predicted would prove imperative. Progressives such as Pulitzer Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman, who warned a larger stimulus was needed, and today recalled his warning last year that Republicans would oppose him, lie about him, no matter what he did, that seeking their support, the president seeking their support, of course, was quixotic. He urged Mr. Obama to start voicing outrage at the lies propagated even by so-called moderate Republicans. At this point, let's turn to Msnbc political analyst Eugene Robinson, also, of course, the Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, associate editor of The Washington Post. Gene, thanks for your time tonight.
Good to be here, Keith.
All right, here's that fundamental question. It was great to see a president as respectful and in setting a tone for respect with people at town halls who didn't necessarily want to buy into what he is selling. But there seems to be that reverence is still there also for Republicans in terms of making concessions to them, at least on this bill. Republicans who will not vote for this, even if it includes all the concessions they demand. If they strip the public option out of this, if it takes $4 next year out of the insurance industry, Republicans will all vote against this.
Yeah. So it does raise the question: what is the point? I mean, why make further concessions to the Republicans when you know that they're in the end not going to vote for it? And I think that's not only a legitimate question, but I think it's a question that answers itself. Frankly, if you move toward the center, I'm not sure there's really a center of this debate, but if you move toward the right at all, you're trying to get that middle. That's perhaps conflicted. You're reassuring people that this isn't some sort of radical change that's going to upset their lives and take away the insurance that they already have. But beyond reassuring people of that, giving up the public option, for example, to Republicans who are not going to vote for it in the end, I think is folly, and it makes the whole exercise not worthwhile.
Well, hopefully on that point, Howard Dean is 100% correct. But ultimately, if he's not, even only 99% correct, what are voters, what are the people who are facing ordeals like Mr. Obama's mother faced in his childhood, what are they going to get, or what are they going to lose from his quest for Republican votes that aren't there?
Well, if you look at what a healthcare reform package might have been, and maybe politics is the art of the possible, but let's imagine you could have had a bill where you could negotiate with prices with big pharma to get drug prices down. You could have had a bill that was much tougher on the insurance companies, and you certainly can have one. I hope still can have one with the public option. People like the president's mother, who went through that ordeal at the end of her life, I think lose a lot if they lose what's left of genuine reform in the bill, which is, as Governor Dean said, essentially the public option and some of the other reforms about pre-existing conditions and the like.
You heard Governor Dean about Senator Conrad on the subject of the Blue Dogs. Presumably, some of the point of courting Republicans is to keep pressure on the Blue Dogs, keep them in line, rather than just telling the Blue Dogs. Why not just tell the Blue Dogs, you want the benefits of a majority party, you vote with the majority of the majority party on what is the majority of the policy that they were elected to enact, or else?
Right, that works for me. I mean, look, this is a big piece of social legislation. Well, who was good? Who was good at getting through big pieces of social legislation? Well, LBJ, for example, and he was Mr. Senate. He knew how to corral and coerce and cajole a majority in that fractious body, and it wasn't all by being nice, and it wasn't all by abandoning positions. It was sometimes by putting your arm around the senator and saying, look, you are going to vote my way or the highway.
Is this happening and we don't know about it? Because Paul Krugman wrote that the Obama White House had this deer in the headlights response to the wave of the whipped up hate on the right. Is the deer actually staring into the headlights or just past them? Does the deer have another car that we don't even see in this picture? What's going on?
Well, we kind of have been through this drill before. I mean, there have been times in the past when I certainly, and I believe you too, we've sat there and said, gee, shouldn't the president president be more forceful? Shouldn't he be attacking and this and that? And he doesn't. And, it tends to work out pretty well for him. So I won't speak for you, but in the past, I was wrong during the campaign. I think this is a somewhat different situation. I think he's not trying to charm large numbers of the public. He's up against special interests that are impervious to his charms. And so I think it requires a tougher approach.
Eugene Robinson, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist of The Washington Post, also of MSNBC. Have a great weekend, Gene. Thanks very much.
You too, Keith.